Do you want to call Maarten dumb this week, Saunders, or should we just get into it?
No, I was good with jumping the gun on Dio last week.
He dumb.
Welcome to the third episode of East of All 2012 Recaps from Reality TV Warriors. My name is Michael Phelps, and joining me as always is the Canadian who would raise his hand for a tour led by anyone in SMM gear, Logan Saunders.
Good afternoon.
And the guy who we go to whenever we need to know about pop groups, David Bindley.
That's me.
It is you.
Bee Gees, Backstreet Boys, Boys to Men.
You had good weeks?
Yeah.
People really got obsessed with ostriches where I live.
Oh, God, what happened this time?
Yeah, what did you do, Saunders? Please don't tell me you've moved on from horses.
Yeah. I found a new kink.
Head in the sand, arse up.
So this goes back a few months now.
Oh, God, you've been doing it for months?
They have been doing it for months.
Friend, in inverted commas.
It's become a political issue in town where there is this ostrich farm on the outskirts of town, but it's like very poor sanitation and they don't take care of the ostriches properly. And I guess they were showing symptoms of some sort of very contagious form of avian flu, but they weren't tested for it or proved that they had avian flu. So then the government decided, okay, we have to, kill off these ostriches. It's just the way it was set up. I think like some of the neighbors in the rural area were even reporting the farm too, just for a very, very poor setup. And this goes back a few months ago. So it became this big form of political protest. And then I guess the government and whatever other agencies they need to coordinate with, I guess as of about 5 days ago, they finally processed it all through that they will indeed kill off these ostriches. So now there are just posts everywhere online to save the ostriches. And it's become a really far right-wing political stance. So it's just a really bizarre time right now.
Who knew that ostriches were the most neo-Nazi bird?
Well, I mean, you say right wing, but they can't really fly, so...
Yeah, they didn't clip their left wing, that's true. Nonpartisan.
Have you ever encountered an ostrich? No joking about you fucking ostriches here, Saunders. Have you ever encountered an ostrich in real life?
Not in Vernon, no. And one didn't chase me through a maze either.
Yeah, I'm sure I've mentioned this, but I went to an ostrich farm when we were in South Africa, and they are scary, scary bastards.
Well, now they're going to be scary dead bastards, apparently, on the outside of town.
Oh, God, zombie ostriches.
Yeah. They'll rise up from the grave.
Zombies are not well known for sprinting after you, but Jesus Christ, can you imagine a zombie ostrich chasing after you?
In a maze.
Have you been watching anything interesting this week, Saunders?
I got through all of Traitors India.
Thoughts? Question mark?
The best Traitors season I've ever seen, I would say.
Do you remember earlier in the year when I was telling you need to watch India immediately because everyone's insane and the production values are amazing? I felt quite vindicated when you said it was probably your favourite one you'd ever seen.
And then somebody on Reddit was saying, oh, I've watched these 12 seasons or so. What seasons should I watch next? And a bunch of people recommended India. And the person said, oh, sorry, I forgot to mention I watched India and I hated the ending. and then they said, what was it? Oh, yeah, I also watched Quebec too. Didn't really like it.
Oh. Get in the sea. They're wrong.
I think it's technically getting the fountain.
Only if you're thrown there. I did have to re-download that episode just to gift that moment for you, but it was well worth. I rewatched it a few times, and the fact of the matter is, they filmed it in 4 separate locations to make it work.
And I believe the prize money is the highest offered outside of the American version.
Yeah, it is quite generous, but also they're all quote-unquote famous, so they sort of needed to entice them into it, I think. And also Amazon money, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Any show like this that Amazon are involved in tends to have a lot of money thrown at it. See also 007 Road to a Million. See also Pop Culture Jeopardy.
See also Beast Games.
Yeah.
Yeah. 10 million? 10 million?
Cash.
I was at the grocery store yesterday and I saw Mr. Beast chocolate bars. And I was thinking, this is quite the world we live in now.
Are they the ones with all the mold in them?
I think so.
They're the ones with a very special source of milk.
It's derived from ostriches.
No, that's Mr. Bestiality.
Which was a prompt on Make Some Noise.
I believe it took me 3 days to watch Traitors India, and 2 of the 3 days I did order East Indian food while watching it.
Yeah, I was quite impressed how quickly you were getting through it, to be honest.
Yeah, I watched the last 5 or 6 episodes overnight.
And it was well worth it.
Yep.
Also, quick question, Saunders. Where's your pass frog?
It is in my hand.
Excellent news. I was going to ask you last week and I completely forgot.
Yeah, as soon as we finished recording, I tracked it down and now it's right next to my desk, or right next to my laptop, rather. So now you can't say anything negative in regards to that issue.
So you're back on Jill's Christmas card list.
Yeah. It was funny when I recorded my Belgium travel video a few days ago. The captions wanted to say I was talking about Jill DaCosta, Jill space DACOSTA. I had a pretty good chuckle at that, so I may or may not want to spell it that way from now on. Jill DaCosta.
Did you also see the big podcast-related news this week, Saunders? I told Bindles about this. I don't know if you know about it.
Does it have to do with American Airlines?
It does indeed.
Yes, I saw that, and I have no comment.
Oh God, just perfect story.
And apparently all the American Airlines passengers now hate that podcast.
Yeah, I mean, join the club.
Mm.
Anyone who doesn't know, not a rival, I would say a second-rate reality TV podcast, have done a deal with American Airlines to have their video podcasts, which are apparently a thing now, because Spotify keeps telling me they are.
I am not putting on pants for a video podcast.
I don't put on pants for work, never mind a video podcast. Yeah, they've struck a deal with American Airlines to be on the in-flight entertainment system, and apparently, as a result, whenever you watch anything on the American Airlines in-flight entertainment system, you now get an unskippable 15-second advert advertising this particular podcast.
I celebrate it by blocking Kirsten on Reddit.
Kristen, you mean?
Kirsten, we all know who I mean.
The fun thing for us is we can now say that we are at least not the most irritating podcast anyone could listen to on American Airlines.
Mm.
Yeah, is it only British Airways that has unskippable ads for us now?
Yeah,
the KLM deal fell through, unfortunately.
that's a shame.
That would be really weird for me, wouldn't it, given that I'm flying to Tokyo with KLM? Just to have every single person on the flight watching me.
Why is this not in Dutch? It is a Dutch show, but they are not talking in Dutch.
Are we just making this season the season of really questionable accents? Because, Saunders has that market cornered.
I was thinking, I thought that was supposed to be an East Indian accent.
Oh
I'm
God,
like,
no. I should explain. My family is Dutch. I can get away with that.
From last week, Saunders tries to get himself cancelled. This week, Bindles does.
I totally thought you were trying to do an East Indian accent.
Oh, anyway, moving swiftly on.
Please do.
Previously, the remaining 9 faced an impossible climb to any cash at all. Tim tried to help Dio out, and Maarten's bet against the team finally pushed them into positive territory. At the execution, Tim's fears for Dio were well-founded, as he became the second person sent packing. Art tells us that the group were nervous, Marit was nearly overcome with her nerves, and she had an exemption for this episode. All those nerves were for nothing, though, and they need to hold their nerve as Iceland isn't getting any easier, and the pot is at an historical low.
Is that true? Was it at a historical low after 2 episodes?
I mean, at this point in history, yeah. Maybe
In
not
2012,
anymore.
not as of 2025 because budget, but in 2012, I was thinking, yeah, probably is.
I mean, certainly in the Angler seasons, they just spaffed money at them.
Yeah.
So it probably is true. We're not going to have to do a Phil Kogan style fact check here that it wasn't that low, but I suspect it was.
Vancouver, the gateway to the world.
Switzerland invented democracy. Appropriately, they saw the oldest parliament in the world in this episode. You know, much, much older than Switzerland.
Mm.
And the episode title is Not Staged. Tim says that it's like a War of the Titans now because everyone already knows everything. It could come down to who has the best memory 2 episodes into a 10-episode season.
I was thinking that's a bit premature to say when you still have 8 people left. Clearly, not everybody knows everything, aside from maybe Lauryn Hill.
And Logan knows premature.
Thanks to the ostrich.
And Maarten has a confessional where he says he has no idea who Dio suspected. And then we cut to Dio at Elimination Station where he has no idea who he suspected.
First things first about this episode, did you notice anything weird with the confessionals?
They were all wearing those interesting hats?
No, like, the lighting was super weird. I know that they usually just take over a hotel room and put a black backdrop and all that sort of stuff behind them. But the lighting was really weird. They had like an overhead light, so it looked like they were green screened into it, basically, in this episode. Plus,
Yeah.
William was wearing a Sergeant Pepper's jacket.
With his Washington Nationals baseball hat.
Yeah, the confessional location this time was just noticeably different. And I know that they do it in the hotels or the cottages where they're staying or whatever. But yeah, the lighting was just odd.
So Tim has this groundbreaking strategy. In my notes, I said his strategy is earth-shattering, groundbreaking even. Are you guys aware of this newfound strategy that Tim has come up with?
Is it called talking to other people?
Yeah, so he has this genius strategy. Listen to this. He hangs out with the men in the cast and shares information, talks to them, has conversations with them.
Slow down, I'm going to have to take notes.
Yeah, write this all down, Bindles. You're not going to believe, and then you're not going to believe it. Then it gets taken to a next level. Then next, he hangs out with the women in the cast, talks to them, strategizes with them, and has conversations with them too.
That's crazy talk.
Yeah, so he is talking to men and women.
Peter Yarn will be so offended that somebody is ignoring his battle of the sexes talks.
Yeah. Men and women? I thought it was like a school dance on Venom. They all just hug the wall. And then Anne-Marie says Tim is trying really hard to be the dumb contestant. Well, granted, she did not say Tim is not trying really hard to be the dumbest contestant because that guy went home the previous episode.
You really hate Dio, don't you?
He was so stupid.
And all right, Mr. 6 episodes on Nadia, calm down.
Hey, Dio would have suspected the cactus plant off camera.
Can you imagine if the Renaissamce cast comes out and Dio's on it?
And then we see Hadovich spanking Tim on camera too. So apparently that topples anything Anamika and Taka had.
So they are taken to the side of a river in a canyon, and Art meets them there. Well, I say meet, he gets driven up there on a jet boat, pretending he's cool.
To the theme from Miami Vice, that very timely TV series.
And he says he needs 2 groups of 3 and 2 contestants who are good at decoding. And it's Marit and Hadovich who are the decoders. And the other groups are William, Lisbeth and Fritz, and Maarten, Tim and Anna-Marie. And the group on the water will be playing a trivia game based on signs held up by the other trio. As they speed past the signs on the boat, they must name as many answers in that category, starting with a particular letter. Each letter is worth a particular value from €20 to 200.
I love that, like, most of the other letters, it sort of seemed to, like, match how easy it was to come up with answers for them. W is worth €30, and it's the only letter that's that cheap.
Could it be based on Dutch Scrabble rules?
I don't know.
Oh, so maybe they have a lot more words that start with W compared to English.
That's what I'm thinking, because Bindles did message me this earlier, and I'm wondering whether it's going to be something like that.
Mm.
And apparently it's based off of a game show called Pim-pam-pet. So they pim-pam-pet in a river jet.
You just know that they came up with that pun first.
Yeah.
So in Dutch Scrabble, W is worth 4.
So, no, that is not
So
Scrabble.
no, it isn't then, yeah. Yes.
Oh yeah, and Lisbeth and Tim swapped journals on the bus. And Tim, they agreed on, what was it, 9 seconds, I think. I don't know why they didn't just round it up to 10 to read each other's journal. And then Tim kept his journal open longer than the 9 seconds, which is something that Sinan Chan would do on Vidum. I'm going to read this journal for longer than 9 seconds and really get a leg up on Lisbeth.
It's also nice that, like, Lisbeth sees Art coming up on the boat and realizes there's something happening involving the boat, which is, like, surprisingly genre savvy for a situation in which the usual confessional is way too often, isn't the host so sexy, I just want to have their babies?
Well, you say that, but I think the wettest bit of this entire opening bit of the challenge was probably Anna Marie's confessional.
Yeah, in my notes I have it written, Anna Marie orgasm scene Art in the speedboat.
Yeah. For some reason, that really turned her on.
She pim-pam-petted herself.
Ugh. No heavy pim-pam-petting.
Oh god, can you tell we're all tired? So after each round, the decoders then look at the board that the group on the boat have written down and try and decode it to actually earn their money, and they have never heard of Michael Phelps.
I was shocked. I was thinking, this is 2012.
2011?
Oh, 2011. Michael Phelps, his best Olympics overall, I believe, was the 2008 Olympics.
Yeah, because that was the one with the illegal wetsuits.
Yeah. So he was in 2008 and 2012. Those were his two big ones, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe. I believe 2008 was his biggest one.
Yeah, 2008 was the 8 golds of the terrorist win one.
I was just shocked. I'm thinking they have a gold medal swimmer in the cast, and he is probably just wanting to crawl into a ball as the other people can't come up with the name Michael Phelps.
Well, you know the even better thing? Maarten won at those Olympics.
Yeah.
Yes, he won. That's what I mean. He won at the 2008 Olympics that they all claim to have watched, but yet they see Michael Phelps and say, "Huh? Michael Phelps? Who?
Michael Plips?
Michael? Yeah."
I love how, like, Art does his usual patronizing, so how many gold medals did he win thing to Maarten? And, like, you can either view it as him being a dick to the women for not recognizing the name, or him just being all, that's 7 more than you lucky fuckhead.
We call that a double roast by Art.
How would you approach this challenge?
I mean, I think a lower value is probably better. You maybe don't go for a 10 or 20 euro one, whatever the lowest one was. I think it was 20. But I think you can probably do a lot better with a sort of low to medium value letter rather than a Q or a Z.
Huh. I would have gone the other way.
Really?
Yeah, like, I figured the trick here is to pick, like, an absurdly high-valued letter and play for 1 or 2 answers that are really easy with that letter rather than trying for 20 small answers. Like, say you have the board that lets you pick the TV shows. You take X, and then you get X-Files, Xena, X-Factor. That's 3 at 150, whatever it was the X was. 450 there, compared to having to come up with 9, T's or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. It depends on what the categories are as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
European cities that start with the letter Q.
Go on, name 5, Saunders.
No, I'm asking. No, I'm asking you guys. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
that's a
have
shame.
picked Q for that.
I'm Uno reversing it, sorry.
Q European cities. Quabity insurance. No, but I'm getting close. Qua. Whoa.
Saunders is just making noises at this
Oh,
point.
it's a didgeridoo. I can't come up with. If it was Zed, I would come up with Zagreb. I'd get that one on the board.
I'm looking at a list now. There's only 2 Qs in all of Europe. There's
Really?
Cortiera at like the bottom of Portugal, and there's a town called Quimper in France.
I would not have gotten either of those.
No.
I haven't even heard of either of those.
Yeah, I think probably you go for not the top value, but
Yeah.
ones where it's logical, because presumably they had like 5 or 10 minutes themselves to work out what they were going to do before the boat started.
Yeah.
So you think about it yourself, you go, well, if I can get 5, we aim for one where I can get 3, so
Yeah.
go for €100 per one, or whatever.
Yeah. I think Z would have been doable for European cities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Zagreb, Zaragoza, Zermatt, Zurich, Zwolle, which the junior version of this show went to, Zakopane, which is, I think, near Krakow. The Amazing Race Australia went there. And then there's like a few other, weird little tiny places in like Germany.
The important question here is, what the fuck is the maximum for this challenge?
I would put it at probably around 2,000.
Yeah, because technically it's a €1,000,000 challenge.
It's karaoke all over again.
Yeah, but in reality it's not.
No.
I'll say about 2,000 then.
Yeah.
I like how Fritz tries to write sports people on his board but runs out of room.
That's the other thing. If you know what the rules are, certainly if you're in the second team to write on the boards, you probably want shorter answers that can be interpreted rather than full name answers.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but William thought he was some sort of genius at this challenge while everyone else he thought was an idiot.
I love how completely unself-aware William is. We've seen glimpses of it so far this season, but he is just a complete hellscape of a human being in this episode, and certainly in this challenge.
Because he says, "Oh, I'm going to come up with actors that start with the letter C," so they'll come up with Chris Rock, because he's a big deal in the Netherlands. Christian Bale, which it's 2011 when Christian Bale is in it.
Yeah, I was going to say that's like peak Dark Knight Christian Bale, isn't it?
And they said, yeah, they would for sure come up with that. And I'm thinking, of course you think they'll come up with that because you're the one who decided on that category and that letter. Of course, you're going to come up with a letter where you're already thinking of answers, and your time limit for thinking of answers is a lot longer than the contestants riding in a river jet.
I don't want to be mean about William, but I think he deserves everything that he gets from this challenge.
Yeah, I remembered William before we did this, before we started recording, but I had forgotten just how delusional he is.
Because he was a complete dickhead in the first challenge as well, in the first episode.
Yeah.
Lest we forget, this is not the first time that he has been a complete prick.
No.
And this is the same guy who decided not to shoot somebody during the paintball challenge and let them go through unarmed to claim an exemption.
Yeah, the person who got an exemption for this episode, no less.
And not only do we, get him being a dick about the letter C and all of that sort of stuff, we get that one shot of him basically being like, well, I can't even read Elizabeth's sign on the beach. And I'm like, well, A, you don't need to. B, I'm pretty sure they can read it from the boat a little bit easier than you can read it from a cliff, ages away. And then C, we get another shot later of whoever's on the cliff in the next round basically being like, yeah, I can read the sign on the beach perfectly.
And then I like how during that challenge, the people in the river jet could read Elizabeth's sign clearly and had really struggled with William. And then William throws a fit after the challenge saying, I don't know, it's really suspicious you could read Elizabeth's invisible sign and not mine. How could you not see my sign?
He's so pissy.
Out of curiosity, have either of you two been in a jet boat?
No.
In an actual proper high-speed jet boat? I don't think so.
Yeah. So I have. there's a company that basically does jet boat tours on Sydney Harbour, and I sort of did it when I was up there one time. And I would say it is very unlikely that they were not going to be able to read these signs, because like even at maximum speed, those boats are not going fast enough for the signs to be unreadable. And like maybe there's a little bit of an issue with like the canyon being a bit windy, but you're still taking long enough to go past the sign that I don't think there's any chance of them not seeing the sign. Like that's not the hard part of the challenge.
And also, they get 2 attempts.
Yeah, like they get 2 attempts. You got the boat going up, the boat going back. So really 4 attempts because 2 sets. The sign part is fun, but the hard part of the challenge is just coming up with the list, and like even like writing the answers on the diver slate or whatever it is they're using. Like that is not messy enough that like it looks like a really jolty ride. Like I think they were going at a reasonable speed, but not super fast, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I think it was more you've got a limited time to do this rather than you've got a limited time to do this and we're doing like donuts and all of that sort of stuff that is going to make it really hard for the decoders to decode what you're actually writing.
I agree.
And I have to say, my favorite condiment city is mustard in Europe. Madrid, Milan, and mustard. I am thinking what was supposed to be written was Mostar in Bosnia.
No, it was Moscow.
Oh, it was supposed to be Moscow. Oh, right, they did. I have that in my notes, yeah. Mustard, Russia.
I mean, an easy mistake to make.
Yeah, Putin likes his mustard. He is not a mayonnaise or ketchup kind of guy.
No.
So in the second round, Maarten picks writers starting with Q. Tim picks pop groups as Fritz is gay, so we'll know a lot of them. And that comment has almost certainly not aged very well.
No.
However, it does actually work because they get €500 out of that one.
Bee Gees and Backstreet Boys.
Tell me why. And along with the €300 from the first boat means that they earn €800 of, we're saying 2,000 for this challenge.
I was trying to think of like writers with Q, and like I couldn't come up with any, but I think the correct way to handle that is to just come up with something that sounds correct and hope like the producers can find proof that there is a writer who had that name at some point in history.
Quentin Smith.
Yeah. Like, even if, just the surnames like Quinn or Quincy or like that sort of stuff, I think you could make the argument, like, because they gave the philosopher as a correct answer. I think they were just genuinely trying to get more money. So, like, I think the producers were going to be very lenient as long as you got an answer that's sort of vaguely correct.
Quentin Blake would have been my answer, who did all the illustrations for Roald Dahl, because he's a writer as well.
Huh.
Maarten included his own name for athletes that start with the letter M.
Yeah, but just Maarten. No surname. Maarten mononym.
Maarten and Michael Jordan and Michael
Phelps. Michael Phelps. I know this is 3 years after the Olympics that they filmed this, but Michael Phelps was still winning a lot of competitions at that point. And you're on this trip with a gold medalist Olympian in swimming. He probably had some Michael Phelps stories that he was telling them.
I got high with him.
Ryan Lochte was also there, so, not out of the question.
Although he is tall enough that he probably got low with them.
And I like how they read Michael Jordan on the sheet too, as if they're thinking, wait, did they mean Michael Jordan, like the basketball player? Or was it a mix-up with the acting category as it was supposed to be Michael B. Jordan? But yeah, I was just amazed that they did not put it together at all. And Michael Phelps would have been the second most famous Olympian in the world at that point. You would have had Usain Bolt as the most famous, and then Michael Phelps would have been number 2.
Maybe even Michael Phelps number 1 at that point, actually. Because Usain Bolt was more London, I think, than...
No, Beijing is when he got the initial record. That's when he got the triple in Beijing.
I would probably say Michael Phelps was more famous than Usain Bolt was in Beijing, at least.
But either way, like that top tier anyway.
I think my favorite confessional sort of after this challenge is Anne-Marie telling us, well, she could have picked Z, but all she could come up with was Seahorn for seal. And so I looked up the list just to see. And seal, sea lion, seahorse, seagull, sea turtle, starfish, swallow, swan, and zebra all start with Z in Dutch. So like that's 9 Zs there. Like they could have come up with at least 2 or 3 of them.
And 9Zs is also the description of 9 other people in this cast.
Mm. No, that's 9Z listers.
Oh, right. Easy mistakes made.
I think 9Zs would be like the speech bubble that was above Dio's head when he was taking the quiz at the end of last episode.
I love that we finally found someone that you really, really hate on this show, because it's usually me who moans about someone.
I mean, Logan liked Rowan.
Yeah, exactly. I went hard on your Owen.
I think you're the only person that's ever said that, Michael.
Now, Hardwick probably has.
And we get one of those earlier Fidum seasons where you go straight into the next challenge right after the previous one ends.
Yeah, and Art just doesn't say anything to them. He just glares at them in a field.
I even wrote my notes. Art has an awkwardly long staring contest.
Do we think they basically did this right next to the jet boat, or do we think they actually went to a separate field for this?
Oh no, it was really nearby, I reckon. Because there was no bus scene or anything either.
Yeah.
That's usually the telltale sign is if there's a bus scene, then they're going to another location. If there isn't, they're not.
Huh.
So yeah, Art stares at Moon Field before silently removing Yokers and an envelope from a box. Lisbeth is the first to raise her hand, so she gets the first choice and chooses the Yoker. William then goes second and wants to know what's in the envelope. Art doubles the Yokers when he tries to take the envelope, but he still takes it, and it contains €1,000. And as we later find out, as the first person to take the envelope, he also gets an advanced question for next episode's test.
He looks just like Jason Biggs in the Teenage Dirtbag music video.
Well, as long as he doesn't look like Jason Biggs in American Pie.
Yeah, that happens off screen with William, I would assume.
I knew he was your favourite for a reason, Saunders. Hardwick is third, and she picks the Yoker. Maarten says he wants Yokers, preferably several, but doesn't know how William got a second one offered because he wasn't paying attention, and he also just takes one Yoker. Anna-Marie is scared of the envelopes, and she takes the Yoker too.
I love Maarten, like, taking the Joker because he has no idea how to get Art to offer the second one. Even though there's only 2 options here, and one of them ends the game for you. Like, the man is almost as dumb as Dio in this episode.
Yeah. Like, there's a degree of being dumb anyway for swimming as much as he does. But, yeah. That was a particularly dumb moment for him.
Yeah.
Fritz then comes up with a plan for Tim to take 2 Yokers, and then he'll take the envelope. Tim, however, takes the envelope and doesn't earn 2 Yokers.
and Fritz and Tim do that, allegedly. Tim has no idea that it's actually happened. While Marit's standing in the middle of them doing nothing. Like, they don't even pretend she's, like, there listening. Like, she's standing there. But, like, they don't talk to her, they don't acknowledge her. They just pretend, it's just like an empty space where a human would be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Dio standing there.
Fritz then goes to the envelope and a second Yoker is offered, and he takes them. Marit's exemption apparently came with a caveat that she had to give them any Yokers she earned after episode 2. She agreed, however, she chooses the envelope so she doesn't have to give any Yokers away.
Which is stupid because episode 2, 1 is already gone, and 2, the thing was not enforceable. Like, she could have taken the Jokers and just kept them for herself, even if it was episode 2. Like, they can't take the exemption offer.
Ah, earnest people. And in total, 3 people took the envelopes for a total of €3,000 of 8,000 for the challenge. And as we saw, first envelope also contained an advanced question for the 4th test.
That would explain why, at the start of the challenge, Art's looking for volunteers to go first. And then sort of after that one is taken, he's like, okay, you're next.
Yeah, I didn't understand what the point of the order was until I looked at the challenge guide for this challenge.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Because they did not make it clear in the episode that only William got the advanced question, I would say.
Like, we don't know that it wouldn't have happened, like, if all 8 of them had taken it, but I think there was, like, a reward for going first, which is sort of like the whole point of the challenge, but also the boring bit of the challenge.
So, Prediction was just using this challenge to throw more money into the pot, right?
Oh, absolutely.
They were using this whole episode to throw more money into the pot. Like, this challenge is obviously basically just giving them free money. The jet boats are pretty much impossible to not win money. Plus, they do 2 rounds, which, like the way they do it with like the same categories being used makes it feel like they basically stuck the second round in after the fact. And then so you've got basically 2 challenges that are guaranteed to give them loads of money. And then the third challenge is a 50-50 shot at €2,000. I don't think it was possible for them to win less than €5,000 in this episode.
No.
So we've seen that in the seasons prior to this, that if the pot is really low, they'll skew the challenges to make it super easy to earn money. And then if they're earning too much money, they'll come up with those ridiculous, either succeed in this challenge, we'll add €1,000 to the pot, or lose, and we will remove €5,000 from the pot.
Yeah.
Because what was it? Portugal, I think, was notorious for that.
Yeah, thank God they don't do those challenges anymore.
Yeah.
They're always underwhelming.
Don't worry, this season is way too early in like the Vidim lifespan for a ridiculous pot drone.
But just the whole setup of, you don't want these 2 yokers? Here, take €1,000. That's your punishment.
Yeah, the price of a pass frog is not usually €500 per pass frog.
Yeah, I suspect if they'd made more money before this, I think that the envelope probably would have been 500 instead of 1,000 as well. Like the challenge was impossible to not win money, but also they were putting way too much money in there at a time.
If this challenge was happening now, it'd probably be something like after 2 yokers.
It'd be €10.
Yeah, and then the people who have the jokers would have the option to take away the money.
Yeah, I was thinking, after 2 yokers, you get the offer of the envelope. If you turn down the envelope, a third yoker is added. If you turn that down, then €1,000 is removed from the pot.
So, after the challenge, William approaches Fritz with the advanced question, looking for one of his 2 yokers in return. Fritz ends up agreeing, and he also gives his remaining yoker away to Tim, as apparently they made an agreement, not that Tim was aware of it. Tim, however, refuses as he thinks he's on the right track.
I mean, like, we talk about Dio being an idiot, and we talked about Maarten being an idiot. Fritz is an absolute dumbass in this sequence. You start with 2 jokers, you nearly end up with 0, and it's only because one of the other people was like, no, like, you need it more than I do. But also, like, that first joker, he's trading away a guaranteed point anytime he wants for maybe scoring a point on one specific test if he happens to be on the right person and if he finds out the answer that fits them before the test. Like, even William, like, later on, is like, why would you take the offer, you absolute bellend?
Couldn't have put it better myself. Anyway, let's get to the fun challenge of this episode, because it's time to meet a weird S&M clown.
Which is how I explained you to a friend the other day.
Rude. I was setting you up to use it as a description for Sawdust. Thank you very much. So Art recaps what happened in a very grim-looking Reykjavik, and it is Lisbeth's birthday, so they celebrate with cake and blowers, which weirdly is also how Sawdust celebrates his birthdays.
And she also bought cookies from a gas station
on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it's weird they've downgraded from Horace's Dutch birthday song to the English version of Happy Birthday to You.
Yeah, because it still would have been in copyright at that point as well, so... So Art then rings and lets her divide the group into 2, 6 people who want to see lots of Reykjavik, and 2 people who will see a small bit. And she picks Maarten and Marit as the 2 to see a small bit.
And because this is prior to Matt Barr, the small bit of Reykjavik was indeed the Phallological Museum.
I would have laughed so hard if that's what she would have given them a tour of, to be honest.
Yeah, she just says, yeah, that dude there, I've seen that before and seen that before.
and they just go up and ask her, can you tell us what this challenge is about? And she's like, no, but I can give you a tip.
When you went to the Phallological Museum, Saunders, did they take an on-ride photo for you?
Can you imagine if that's what they do?
Was there hands-on exhibits like most museums?
It was not hands-on, no. You could not. There was... A lot of it was behind glass. And there were a lot of interesting drawings and paintings in there.
I bet there were. Were you taking notes?
No, I was not taking notes, no.
Just mental notes.
Mental pictures, the memories.
So the group of 6 wait on a bench and are greeted by their guide, a sort of a mixture of a female clown and a scary neighbour who has a high sex drive. And Fritz tells us that she's too old to wear the outfit.
Oh, yeah. No need for the judgment, Fritz.
Out of curiosity, Logan, how old do you think she is?
I was thinking probably late 40s.
This woman at the time of recording was 62.
Oh, I would not have guessed that.
Because she is a famous Icelandic protester with her own Wikipedia article.
Blurinkna?
Well, I think that's like a translation error from like whoever subtitled it for the show, because her name is Birna. Birna Þórðardóttir is an Icelandic sociologist, editor, poet, activist, and guide. She is best known for her participation in the radical social struggle of the 68 generation.
Did she do anything specific?
Well, there's one thing in her Wikipedia page which says a violent clash occurred in connection with a NATO ministerial meeting held on the university campus where protesters were brutally beaten on the 50th anniversary of the publication of the novel Child of Nature, which was held at the University Theatre. Birna took the podium uninvited, presented the author with a bouquet of flowers, and then gave a speech about the situation in Vietnam. Like, this woman is like a very big deal in Iceland. Like, I don't know the whole story, but apparently there was like sort of an interesting little background with how they found her for this. Apparently they tried getting like the actual mayor of Reykjavik to do it, and like at the time the mayor was like a former comedian, sort of in the same way as Zelensky is. So they tried getting him to do the tour, and he was up for it, but he couldn't clear his schedule on such short notice because they had to move from Morocco. But he was like, "Hey, I know this lady who runs tours. Why don't you try her?" And it turns out she just started a tour company. So like they basically sort of found her just like complete random coincidence, I guess.
When they were all being brutally beaten, were they all wearing leather outfits and they were getting whipped the whole time?
No, only the people with Hardwick were.
Poor Tim.
Yeah. She kept the whipping until they said Hardwick.
That's the safe word. Hardwick, please stop. No, actually, it's the dangerous word.
Let me just Google Icelandic translation for pineapple. Ananas. It's genuinely ananas.
Oh, of course it is.
Well, I guess they don't grow pineapples in Iceland, so that makes sense.
So Marit and Maarten meet Art on a rooftop. The other group will arrive at exactly 2 p.m. and they will earn €2,000 if the group of 6 do not enter the tower. They get a phone and some questions to try and work out the other group's phone number.
I like how it's like the tower defender minigame that would be on like a Java powered website or on a mobile game, but they don't get to use any cool weapons or things falling from the sky to prevent people from entering the tower. It's just a lousy phone.
I mean, to be fair, like it's not the interesting part of the challenge, so it's probably lucky they gave it to the boring lady and the guy who gets eliminated in 20 minutes.
Yeah, because all the interesting stuff in this challenge is with the guide.
Yeah. Don't talk so much. Listen to me. I'm very kind. I love her so much.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And apparently she does dress like that in real life, by the way.
I can believe it.
With the bear skin around her neck?
Yeah. There is a photo of her, I think, leading like the Reykjavik Pride Parade at one point. And you can tell, like, this is just like her normal sort of clothes. Like, it's not, like, she didn't dress up particularly much for this. She is very insane and delightful.
Yeah. Eccentric, I think, is the word.
I like how Anna Marie didn't really know how to talk to her, where she asks her, "Oh, miss, can I ask you something?" And then the woman responds with, "Sure, I know everything." And then Anna Marie's like, "Oh, okay, you know everything. Do we have to worry about being somewhere at a certain time?"
Well, this also, thinking about it, predates the deal that Iceland Air had, where if you have a layover in Reykjavik when you're on the way from Europe to the States or whatever, you can get an Icelandic person to show you around, I think.
Oh, it was back during that time. Because now the layover rule, when I was looking into it, I'm trying to think how it exactly works. But I remember it not being that much of a financial incentive to do the layover in Reykjavik now. If you do that like through Iceland Air.
Well, I think this would have predated it, but only just.
I've just sent you both a photo. Like, I think the best way I can describe like the way she looks is left-wing Theresa May.
And let's see. I don't really have too many other notes about this challenge other than Marit telling Tim, "You cannot enter the tower. Do not enter the tower." Which, of course, makes everyone else think, "Oh, does that mean we should enter the tower?" And then William, "Oh, this was a really dumb idea by William." He says, "Oh, so they're saying if we don't enter the tower, we get 2,000 euros. Maybe if we go in the tower, we get 3,000 euros." And I'm thinking, in what challenge ever in Vidum, even if they're desperate to throw money at you, would the two possible values for a challenge be 2,000 euros or 3,000 euros put into the pot?
I think my favorite bit of the challenge is, explaining it at the theatre. Explain to a whole bunch of theatre adjacent people and Fritz that theatres are like another world populated entirely by elves, but they have to take her seriously and make lots of notes because they have no idea how her delusions figure into the challenge yet.
I just think she's brilliant.
Yeah. Like, I realize, if we get somebody from this cast in Renaissamce, it's probably going to be Dio or Maarten or, somebody else. But I want it to be her. I just want her to be the greeter next time Amazing Race goes to Iceland.
As if Amazing Race still has the budget to go to Iceland.
They had that Oliver Olafsson for season 34 as a pit stop grader. He seemed like a pretty big deal.
I mean, it's either going to be her or the Play Yaya Ding Dong guy.
He's, I think, probably more in their budget. Anything else to say about this challenge?
I wish Art would have asked questions based on what she said about each location. Can you imagine Art trying to ask a question about theater and everyone has to produce the answer about elves? And he has to do it with in his typical Art play everything straight fashion.
I think Marit's off Lisbeth's Christmas card list, though. She sees them coming across the bridge, and she's like, "Oh, that one's Anna Marie. Oh, that one's Fritz. Oh, Lisbeth's in the red." And I'm like, "No, the old lady is in the red." Like, also, you know what Lisbeth was wearing. Like, you saw her this morning.
Yeah, and also, I know she's aged today technically, but not that much.
She's not vinegar.
She is below the Cordius line.
So somehow Marit actually picks the right phone number on the first attempt and gets through to Tim. However, none of them actually believe her or Maarten. And despite the fact that basically everyone wants to break the rule and see if they can earn more money or exemptions or whatever, none of them go into the tower, which does mean they earn 2,000 of 2,000 euros for the challenge, 5,800 of 12,000 for the episode, and 8,300 of 27,500 for the season so far. And Art also tells them it's time for test and execution.
It's funny how they, with Elizabeth, gets to be the birthday treasure for this, as if it's like, oh, because it's your birthday, you get to put the money in your pocket.
Also, I loved it at the end of the tour. Bjorn just disappears into the building in the middle of all this, and then we just never see her again. Like, isn't that like just the perfect way to get rid of her off the screen?
There's just no need to ever see her again.
If only there was a beam of light that came down from the heavens and just abducted her into heaven. I'll go back to my home planet now.
So it's now time for the test. 20 questions about the identity and actions of the mole. Whoever knows least goes home, except for the mole who can never go home. Marit has an exemption, and Fritz, William, Anna Marie, Maarten, Lisbeth, and Hardwick all have a yoker each. Before Tim participated in the show, he was warned about getting tunnel vision, so he hedges his bets on 3 people, which is Fritz, Lisbeth, and Anna Marie. Anna Marie thinks William's suspicious. He's so fanatic, but sometimes has a stitch or messes about. William says he's sure of his place in the game, but not who the mole is. He thinks they're on his shortlist, though. Hardwick is suspicious of William. He's acting strange, and it's like a red rag to a bull. She plays her yoker. Fritz suspects Anna Marie and Lisbeth, but mainly Lisbeth. Lisbeth has ruled people out, those who are too honest or too enthusiastic, but she still suspects Fritz. She plays her yoker. And Maarten is keeping his suspicions open. He's spreading on everyone and wants to prevent focusing on 1 or 2 people. He plays his yoker. And if you didn't know that Maarten was going to go home at the end of this episode, I think his entire test confessional probably tipped you off.
Yes. I wrote that in my notes here.
I did love like the ridiculousness of Hardwick trying to impersonate a bull in her confessional.
Yeah, she's fun.
Yeah. It's good foreshadowing for Spain as well.
Yeah, good point. I did think that. Art actually gives them a crumb of praise and says they've done well this episode. They're starting to get the hang of it and actually earn money. Lisbeth, Hardwick, and William in a red cap all get green screens before Maarten gets the red.
In a red shirt.
And William didn't lie to him, but he may have slightly omitted some helpful details.
Ooh. Mastermind.
William's villain edit has begun.
You never know what he's thinking underneath that Washington Nationals hat.
This exit interview made me laugh so hard. Like, Art was like, you were very good at this super physical thing you trained for years for, but you went out early on a game show. Make those two things make sense.
I also love how the interview is deliberately framed so Art looks like a child. I know Maarten is 6'8", 6'9", whatever he is, but Art looks genuinely tiny next to him.
The next question was, what's your favorite color, Maarten?
Also, he got a montage, Saunders. I'm sure you enjoyed that.
We get a montage. Yes. More content than other early boot montages in Vidum over the years.
Yeah.
The funniest thing is, like, he doesn't even get his own last word. Like, the last word in this episode is Lisbeth. And she's basically like, yeah, he was good at analysing the game, the statistics, all of that sort of stuff, but he was shit at playing it.
But it means nothing.
Yeah.
So next time, there's tandems, Fritz isn't good at understanding, someone goes diving, and there's a particularly infamous challenge at the Hofty House. Next week is the episode we've been waiting for you to watch, Saunders.
Yeah, like, we recorded episode 2 last week, and we're doing episode 4 tomorrow, but we had to tell Logan, do not watch episode 4 until after we do this one. And, like, when you see what episode 4 is, you know why.
Oh, do they bring Dio back?
It's a scene and sabotage. Dio comes back. But he might still be the mole.
And he gets a double exemption?
Of course. So, final 3 questions, as always. Who do you suspect? Who's the sneaky Tasmanian? And who's going home next?
All right, my order of suspicions. Marit's number 1, then Lisbeth, then Anna Marie, then Hadovich, then I had Maarten, then Tim, then Fritz, then William. I think it's a non-elimination next round, but if it is an elimination, I think Anna Marie will go. And I believe I switched up my sneaky Tasmanian. Fritz. Fritz is the sneaky Tasmanian.
Interesting.
Interesting all around.
Interesting. You're wrong on all accounts, Saunders.
Well, we know you didn't do a Mr. Bean again, at least. Because Dio did go home last week.
Yes.
Anything else you want to say about this episode? Any eulogy for Maarten, or do we just not care anymore?
He gone!
Yeah. Like, I liked him. I forgot sort of how, like, unimportant to the season he was.
He seemed lovely. Just, I kind of agree with Hardwick that he wasn't cut out for the game.
Yeah. It's interesting that sort of at the end of it, they sort of like start framing him as, I guess, autism coded, like where he's, you know, oh, you can see all the patterns. It's just the people that are the issue with you.
I think he's the smartest athlete they had on the show by that point, right?
I mean, it's a low bar.
He's the only athlete they've had on the show by this point.
All right, Taka's not till Dominican, yeah, right.
Yeah, when his successor is Taka Takava, whose 3 words that he could say are duh, duh, and duh. Maarten is obviously going to be smarter than that. And I love you, Taka, if this ever gets better to you. You know I do.
Just not as much as Hardwick loves you.
No. Taka Takama. Anyway, let's wrap this up. Thank you for listening to our Fiesta Mall 2012 recap. We'll be back next week to continue the hunt for the new small in Iceland and Spain. Don't forget you can contact us on pretty much every social media platform that isn't TikTok, where we are RTV Warriors, or you can email us and contact at rtvwarriors.com. You can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/rtvwarriors and get early access to the rest of the episodes of this season, and also the incriminating photos of Logan and an ostrich. Thank you, kind of by default, to Marika, even though she didn't do this season, for the subtitles. We will see you next week.
Peace out and just chill till the next flavoring.
I can't believe we had this much water in this episode and nobody got wet.